Welcome to the In Sync Now, bringing you the latest news from around the world. The South China Sea is a vital artery of global commerce, carrying nearly a third of all maritime trade, including energy and goods that fuel economies worldwide. Its strategic location connects the Indian and Pacific Oceans, making it a critical passage for both naval and commercial fleets. Control here means influence over the economic fate of nations. Beneath its waves lie vast, untapped reserves of oil and natural gas, potentially up to 11 billion barrels of oil and 190 trillion cubic feet of gas. For surrounding nations, these resources are a path to energy independence. This wealth turns the sea into a coveted prize, intensifying competition and making every drilling rig a potential flashpoint. The South China Sea is now a crucible where the US-led order confronts China's sweeping claims, which overlap with the sovereign rights of the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, and Brunei. Daily standoffs between coast guards and fishing fleets carry the weight of national pride and strategic calculation. A single miscalculation could disrupt global trade or trigger regional conflict. The recent US-Philippines Energy Pact is the latest move in this high-stakes contest, signaling shifting alliances and rising tensions. Every diplomatic gesture and naval exercise sends ripples across the region. The world is watching, knowing the stakes could not be higher. The US-Philippines Energy Pact emerged amid escalating confrontations at sea. Chinese Coast Guard vessels have used aggressive tactics, including water cannons, to block Philippine resupply missions to contested outposts. Manila, under President Marcos Jr., has responded with a more assertive stance, publicizing incidents and rallying international support. Diplomatic protests have failed to deter China's harassment, pushing the Philippines to seek stronger security guarantees. The Energy Pact is a direct response to this coercion. The Philippines' energy reserves, especially in the Reed Bank, remain untapped due to Chinese interference. For Manila, developing these resources is a matter of national security. The US stepped in, linking its technical expertise and capital to the defense of Philippine rights. The agreement is more than commercial. It's a strategic signal that US interests are now directly tied to Philippine sovereignty. Any interference now risks direct confrontation with Washington. The deal shifts the risk calculation for Beijing. It's a move from diplomatic protest to economic and security partnership. The South China Sea dispute is rooted in centuries of history and nationalism. The Philippines and Vietnam trace their claims to ancient fishing traditions and historical records. China's sweeping nine-dash line, first drawn in 1947, claims nearly the entire sea based on vague historic rights. This line overlaps with the exclusive economic zones of several neighbors, fueling conflict. The discovery of oil and gas in the 1970s turned barren reefs into strategic assets, prompting military occupations and skirmishes. The United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS, established clear maritime rules, but China's claims directly contradict them. The clash between modern law and historical narrative remains unresolved. In 2013, the Philippines challenged China's claims at an international tribunal under UNCLOS. The case focused on whether China's historic rights could override the Philippines' legal rights within its exclusive economic zone. China refused to participate, dismissing the tribunal's authority. In 2016, the tribunal ruled decisively for the Philippines, rejecting China's nine-dash line and affirming Manila's rights. China ignored the verdict and intensified its activities. The previous Philippine administration downplayed the ruling, but President Marcos Jr. has revived it as a central pillar of policy. The ruling remains a powerful legal and diplomatic tool, yet without enforcement, its impact is limited. The new Energy Pact seeks to turn legal victory into practical reality. The US-Philippines Energy Pact aims to unlock offshore resources long blocked by Chinese intimidation. It brings American technology and investment to develop gas fields like Reed Bank, crucial as the Malampaya field nears depletion. For the Philippines, this is about energy security and economic survival, reducing reliance on imports and stabilizing prices. The agreement also carries major security implications. U.S. companies operating in Philippine waters will be under the protection of the U.S. government, raising the stakes for China. The pact extends a security umbrella over economic ventures, leveraging the U.S.-Philippines Mutual Defense Treaty. Its integrated deterrence, economic and military power combined. The goal is to enforce the 2016 tribunal ruling through action, not just words. By making Philippine rights tangible, the pact aims to shift the regional balance. China must now weigh the cost of interference against the risk of direct confrontation with the US. The agreement is a bold step to make international law matter on the water. The Energy Pact is part of a broader US-Philippines alliance revival. Military cooperation has surged, with Balikatan exercises growing in scale and realism, now held near the South China Sea and Taiwan Strait. The Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement gives the US access to new bases, including sites near disputed waters. This allows rapid response to crises and strengthens deterrence. The Philippines is also deepening ties with other US allies, joint patrols with Australia, new defense talks with Japan. These minilateral partnerships create a network of democracies, raising the cost of aggression. The strategy: build credible deterrence through military readiness and economic integration. The military and energy pacts are two sides of the same coin. Together they create a secure environment for investment and signal that coercion will not succeed. The alliance is now more than symbolic, it's operational and ready. China has responded with intensified gray zone tactics, using Coast Guard and maritime militia to harass Philippine vessels without triggering open conflict. These actions keep pressure on Manila while avoiding direct military escalation. Economically, China wields trade as leverage, hinting at sanctions or investment delays to sway Philippine policy. Beijing's information campaign frames the Philippines as a US pawn and dismisses the 2016 ruling. China promotes its own vision of shared prosperity, contrasting it with what it calls US confrontation. The goal: wear down Philippine resolve, test US commitment, and make the status quo untenable for Manila. China is playing a long game, betting on its proximity and power. The contest is a sustained campaign, not a single dramatic act. The outcome will shape the region's future. Tensions in the South China Sea threaten global supply chains. A crisis here could disrupt trade far more severely than the Suez Canal blockage, causing shortages and soaring costs worldwide. Nations like Japan, South Korea, and Europe depend on free passage for energy and goods. They now see stability in the South China Sea as a core interest, prompting greater diplomatic and military involvement. The dispute also chills investment, as companies weigh the risk of conflict. The US-Philippines Energy Pact highlights both opportunity and danger. Commercial ventures are now entangled in great power rivalry. The region's future will test whether international law or raw power prevails. If coercion succeeds here, it could set a precedent for other contested regions. What's at stake is not just territory, but the principles of the global order. The South China Sea dispute has drawn sharp international reactions. ASEAN remains divided. Some members challenge China, others side with Beijing, limiting the bloc's effectiveness. US allies like Japan and Australia have endorsed the 2016 ruling and stepped up security cooperation with the Philippines. Australia conducts joint patrols. Japan provides patrol vessels and negotiates new defense pacts. European powers, once distant, now send naval deployments and assert international law. Their involvement signals that this is a global issue, not just a regional spat. The US-Philippines Energy Pact lands in a region on high alert, solidifying alliances and drawing clearer lines. As more nations align with Washington and Manila, the risk of wider confrontation grows. The world is watching. Knowing the outcome could set the precedent for managing great power competition. The energy agreement is more than a business deal. It's a strategic move to enforce international law and deter coercion. Military alliances are strengthening, China is recalibrating, and the stakes for global trade are rising. The region is now the stage for a defining contest between law and power. The critical question: can this web of deterrence bring stability, or is the Indo-Pacific edging closer to conflict?